What's up, everybody? AJ here, and welcome to the live EA Sports NCAA Football 13 webcast. We're talking about Heisman Challenge mode today. We promoted it a little bit, but joining me as usual is producer Ben Haumiller. You're the producer for NCAA Football 13. How's it going, Ben?
Doing great. Excited to be here. Talk about a brand new experience for our game that we've never had before. I mean, we've kind of just mentioned a couple of small snippets about what this mode's about, but here we are to talk about the Heisman Challenge, give you the real deal of everything we're doing.
And helping us talk about this brand new mode to NCAA football is designer Alex Howell. You also worked a little bit on Road to Glory as well.
Yeah, so excited to be here to talk about Heisman Challenge. You know, when we're deep in working on a game for an entire year, the moment we get to talk to the community and talk to everybody about what we've been working on, it's a great feeling, especially this year with Heisman Challenge. Everybody should be really excited about things we're going to talk about.
Now you're a gamer yourself, correct?
Oh, gigantic gamer. It's bad. You were calling me a nerd so much for my mod and Game of Thrones knowledge earlier.
Modding and stuff like that, and that started to lose me.
JRPGs for life, man.
All right.
Oh, okay. Oh, this. All
right. So how does this gamer, who you actually used to be a football player yourself?
Yeah, luck. Honestly, I'll attribute to luck and blessings. Played football at Auburn behind Ronnie Brown, Carnell Williams. A lot of good big players. Wanted to follow that up with my passion, which is really game design. So I went to grad school here in Orlando. They have a great internship program here at EA. So when I was finishing that up, I came and talked to Ben and Roy Harvey, who's the executive producer of NCAA 12. They found a great fit for me here on the team, and it's been history ever since.
Very cool. All right, so what we're doing today is we're showing this presentation that is usually only shown internally. Like, you guys present these decks or PowerPoint presentations, whatever you want to call them, internally to marketing or PR or whoever, or higher level execs. And this year we're actually showing that to you, the fans, so that people can get an inside look at what we're doing with all our games this year. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I do want to remind everyone we are actually showing live yet unfinished gameplay from Heisman Challenge mode today. You're actually going to hop on the Xbox 360 sticks here in just a little bit and show us the game and the mode itself.
Yep.
But first, let's go through this presentation. Tell us a little about the players.
Sure, yeah. As we hop into Heisman Challenge, you get to observe my awesome, fun presentation skills here. It's not PowerPoint, it's something different.
I love it already.
But when we started thinking, brainstorming new features and new modes and how we could really make the best of NCAA 13, we actually got a little inspiration from Eddie George. Ben, what did Eddie say about
it was kind of a really interesting story. Eddie George, while on the shoot for those Nissan Heisman House commercials, was talking to one of the guys from Nissan, and was like, he loves the game and plays the game all the time, but he plays with himself as, what if Eddie George went to SMU? And that's what he does. He creates himself. Eddie George puts himself on SMU and plays a 4-year career. I don't know why SMU is the school for him. I mean, if you think about when Eddie George is coming out, SMU is probably not the school that he would have chosen then. And now, especially with the offense they run, not the best fit for his style, but it's how he enjoys playing the game. And so we were thinking about that and kind of looking at some other examples of games and what they've done with historic players. And we wanted to have that kind of experience in our game. I mean, with our game, we have amateur athletes. We don't have any real players. In our 20-year history, we've never had an actual player or a cover athlete in our game. When they're not promoting the game, they're talking about, the NFL draft coming up or whatever it is. They're not a part of the game anymore. So now we've got these athletes here that you can play as in the game. It's kind of a new deal for us, a new experience. We've never had real players. It's kind of a funny thing to say, but it's true. and here we are with a chance to have a real player likeness in the game.
Yeah, exactly. So when Ben presented this idea to me of how we can really get these Heisman players involved, after working on Road to Glory last year, I was so excited for the opportunity that we had, because not only are we working with Heisman players, we're working with the best of college athletes. When you think of playing NCAA football, it's more of you're running up the score 60 points on every opponent, and looking at these stats, you might have rushed the ball for 250 yards. But in some of these Heisman guys, real years, they were doing that every single game. So we have an opportunity to really max out the potential of these Heisman players. But what Heisman Challenge is, in a nutshell, it's a one-year experience where you can take on any of these Heisman players, put them on any team currently in the NCAA, and see if you can match up their stats. To get you a quick idea of the feature set, and I'll just read it to you. We have 16 former Heisman players. You play through one season. We have specific goals and accomplishments for each player, which means that we matched up Barry's stats, and you have to go and challenge those. We have a brand new gameplay feature called Reaction Time, which we'll get into a little bit further. We also had the opportunity to sit down and do video interviews with these athletes to really get their experience and their feel and takes on what was like going through those Heisman years. And also, we have the leaderboards as always, and unlockables that we'll touch on later on in the show.
All right.
So as we hop into here, we just want to go ahead and talk about the athletes that we have in here. You see a couple of names on here of heroes that we have always had: Desmond Howard, Tim Brown, Barry Sanders, Eddie George, Marcus Allen, Herschel Walker, Archie Griffin, Mark Ingram. One of my personal favorites, Robert Griffin III. One of Ben's personal favorites, Charlie Ward. Who doesn't like Charlie Ward? And another of mine, Doug Flutie, Jim Plunkett, Matt Leinart, Tim Tebow, Andre Ware, and Carson Palmer. And when you really think about the best of the best, these really are the best of the best, aren't they, Ben?
I mean, yeah, you look at the former Heisman winners, and this is just the cream of the crop list of guys. I mean, we went after a large list of people, and there are some that just, for one reason or another, we couldn't get involved in the game. But this is a list of the guys that we really targeted that, each have a different kind of experience. And one reason or another, these are some of the premier guys to have in the mode, be it their story, or be it the stats that they put up, or just their legendary stature and status. And so it's one of those things where, we looked through everybody who had won the Heisman and said, okay, take out the ones that we're not going to be able to get for one reason or another. These are the guys that we want to really show off this mode to show you, what it is to be a Heisman winner and how those experiences and those stories can be so different from guy to guy. And we'll talk about pre-order as well now. We mentioned a while back the GameStop pre-order. This is what it was for, is to be able to unlock those 3 athletes to be able to use in the full retail game. So if you pre-order through GameStop, you're going to get Mark Ingram, Tim Tebow, and Matt Leinart available. I do have another announcement as well. Through the demo, if you play the demo, you're going to unlock 3 additional guys. So if you play the demo and play through each game in that demo, you're going to have Tim Brown, Archie Griffin, and Jim Plunkett available to you as well. So the other 10 guys that I didn't mention there, those are all guys that are available in the base version of the game. So as soon as you boot up for the first time, if you didn't pre-order, you didn't play the demo, you're going to have those 10 guys to choose from. If you did do those things, you've got 6 additional guys to play from there. So giving you a wide variety with that Heisman. There's only a few positions that have ever really won it. Yeah. And so from that, it's the 3 different experiences you can have though through our game, and these are 3 of the most popular positions that are played through Road to Glory. So if you're playing a single player experience like this mode, it kind of made sense to utilize this award as a way to kind of pick our best players to use.
Alex, some of our fans might be watching this on a little bit smaller screen, so if you wouldn't mind zooming in
sure.
and kind of scrolling over these guys
Not a problem.
a little bit
we'll get
for them.
Close and personal here.
They might be watching while they're at work, if you know what I'm saying. Got that Excel spreadsheet up. Hey, we're not judging. So you can pre-order the game right now at GameStop if you want to. It's in stores July 10th, so be sure to do that if you haven't already done so. And if you so choose to pre-order from GameStop, you get those 3 extra players for Heisman Challenge mode. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. And also, another great thing, this is the first time ever you'll actually be able to play as the cover athlete. So since Robert Griffin III won the Heisman and he's on the cover of the game, you also get to play as him, which is just awesome. After watching him last year, who wouldn't want to go in and play with him, see what he's like on Auburn, Tigers, War Eagle. Sorry.
That's it. Barry Sanders as well. We have the
Barry
dual
Sanders,
cover
so sick to
athlete,
play
and a chance to play with Barry and be Barry, and through this mode.
Absolutely.
And we'll get into some of the details here in a minute, but this is the first time I think you can really experience being a guy like Barry Sanders.
Exactly.
Back in the day, back when he was playing for the Lions on Madden, you didn't really get that feeling of what Barry could do. You never had that power of Barry being able to do those moves. I think through this mode this year, you're going to finally get that chance.
Yep.
Can't wait to show it here in a second.
Let's keep on with the presentation. So we have all these guys. We're going to zoom in a little bit so everybody can see this better. That's good. We went the extra mile to make sure that every single small detail of these athletes was taken care of. These player models are actually not even face scanned. We actually hand modeled these these faces, which, without getting into the super nerdy, I don't want to blow you away here, into the super nerdy part of this, but the level of detail on these guys that our artists came up with, it is so absolutely spot on, especially if you look at Maddie down below.
Yeah.
It is uncanny. But not only that, with the faces, we wanted to make sure that we got the equipment matched up as well. So, Barry's going to have his elbow pads. You'll see all the guys represented exactly the way they looked back in their glory days, not what they look like right now, because that would just probably look kind of odd.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to go out and head scan Archie Griffin now. No offense to Archie, but he doesn't look the same as he did in 74 and 75.
His hair in the game, though.
You got to have those big mutton chops. You got to have that afro. It's awesome to see that.
It really is. It's absolutely fantastic to see that stuff. So we really wanted to make sure that we covered all these details with all of these guys. God, those mutton chops. That's all I can think about. So it's carrying on. God, this is one of the most exciting parts to us. Along with these, how good these players were and how great they were on the field, there were so many memories and so many experiences that these guys went through that we just really wanted to share. And Ben and Christian went and interviewed these guys, and these interviews are absolutely fantastic. I cannot speak for how great these interviews are. But the great thing about the interviews is that we just didn't go out and ask them random questions. These interviews are perfectly laid throughout the entire mode. So, we could have just laid these video interviews in there as unlockables. As soon as you play a couple of games, you get to watch an interview. But these questions pertain to what part of the year you're going through. So when you start out the mode, you see an interview with each guy asking about where they wanted to be if they were playing in this year's current season. So you have Barry talking about what type of running offense he wanted to run. Carson Palmer talking about things that he would like to see. Some of these guys even were pretty flamboyant about how good they were.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think this is as a college football fan. One of the things that excited me the most when we were kind of brainstorming the idea for this mode was, let's get these guys to tell their own stories. Let's hear it from them, what it meant to win the Heisman and these different things of, what's it mean for Carson to play against Notre Dame or UCLA and that rivalry, and how does that compare when, say, Desmond's talking about playing against Ohio State, and just hear these guys talk about those things and why they chose the school that they chose, and kind of you had the chance to replay history here a little bit and kind of change history and put these guys that are maybe so iconically tied to their school on a different school. Well, hear from them. If they were 18 right now, where would they go? And hear from Doug Flutie, like, he would love to play in kind of a spread out offense and how different that would be, because that option wasn't available to him back in the late 70s, early 80s when he was coming into college.
And it's pretty popular now.
And so to hear these stories from these guys was a lot of fun for us just to sit back and just hear them go. And I think they add a lot to the mode, too, to hear, these different moments. And you get a guy like Carson Palmer who, just talks about his experiences. And then, Matt Leinart, who was only there just a few years after, and how different his experience at USC was. And just, what it means to be a Heisman winner for these guys. And you hear the reverence in their voice of just what it means and how they kind of carry themselves as Heisman winners. You can see a guy like Matt Leinart now, a few years removed from winning it, still playing NFL, but you can just tell that he really realizes what this award means to him, and so it's just cool to see him, go in and kind of tell that story. And so we're going to show a couple of these, just as some examples here. But you've got 4 videos for each guy that are paced through the mode, just at different points. Yeah, if it's a rivalry game, it's going to talk about that. And here we go. We'll show a couple examples now.
I jumped the gun here.
My favorite was versus Illinois. And that's when I rushed for 314 yards. And I think that game, I know that game sealed the Heisman for me that year. My freshman year, I fumbled twice against this team at Ohio Stadium. I didn't see the field again for 2 years. So that was my nemesis. So they came in to Ohio State. They had the best rushing defense in the country. I look up at halftime, and I see my stats. I had 187 yards at halftime. I wound up getting 314 yards a day in 3 quarters. And I think that sold it. I think that sealed the deal for me.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Funny story about this next video, and I'll let Ben elaborate a little bit more. Archie Griffin was one of our favorite people to interview, and I think even Christian got him so emotional to a point where he almost cried.
Yeah, no, talking about what it meant to win the Heisman to him, he got a little emotional there. It's one of those things that still deeply touches him. And going back talking about that Eddie George video real quick too, I mean, that is the Eddie George Heisman moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
That game against Illinois is what his season was all about, and that defined him as a Heisman winner, that his performance there. And just that story of redemption, you know, how as a freshman he fumbled in a crucial situation against Illinois, and got his revenge against the top 5 defense in the league that year. So just kind of an interesting thing just to hear that. And now you kind of, if you're too young to really remember Eddie, you get a little of that history about him. I mean, a lot of people are too young to remember Jim Plunkett.
Yeah.
I mean, he was out of the NFL before a lot of guys were born. So you get to hear that story. I mean, it's crazy for me to think about the fact that there are kids right now that only know Desmond Howard from his work on College Game Day, and not what he did, at Michigan or even in the pros. So, giving that history here of these guys and kind of having them tell their stories. So we'll go in. Archie is another fun one. Only 2-time winner, and dude has so much character and was so much fun to listen to.
Let's check this out real quick.
I think that I would be pretty good in the spread offense, but I would also like to be able to catch passes is one of the reasons that I said that. Because, when I played at Ohio State, a lot of people thought that I couldn't catch. One of my favorite things to do was catch passes. We didn't pass very much at Ohio State because our coach, Woody Hayes, he had a belief. He said when you pass, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. And those 2 bad things were either an interception or an incomplete pass. But if I had an offense to play in now, probably the spread offense would be fun for me, and getting involved in the passing game as well.
Can you imagine Archie Griffin in the spread offense?
No.
No,
I can't at all.
But I think we got every catch he had
right.
at Ohio State in that clip right there. So
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to show those off and have them talking about that. But just that difference there of just kind of the different era, and you can see that with just how he looked and how the game, how everyone going to look compared to now. And just think about, wow, these guys, how would they do in today's game, and how would they translate? And so I think that's some of the fun part here. So I think we have one more to show.
One more to show. This is when me and Ben were talking about putting this together, this presentation for everybody. He told me to pick out 3 of my favorite videos, and this one, hands down, this one of Herschel Walker. Not just because my sister-in-law went to Georgia. This video is so emotional and so great that it's the very last video that you'll see when you play through as Herschel Walker. It's great. So
Spoiler alert.
Sorry, my bad. So let's just get this one rolling.
When I found out that I won the Heisman Trophy, first I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed because, Elway was there, Eric Dixon was there, and I felt that they performed well, and for me to take it from them, I'm embarrassed about that. I was embarrassed because, my whole team, they were not there. I had a couple of players there. That Hershey standing up there in front of everybody accepting an award that we all deserve. I was honored because I came from Wrightsville, Georgia. Parents that always supported me, brothers and sisters that always supported me, a town that stood behind me. In the state of Georgia, I was proud because they were right there with me. I was happy because the whole university were excited. I even had Uga, the Georgia mascot, there in a tux. I don't think anyone ever seen an English bulldog in a tux before. But I got the Georgia Bulldogs there in a tux, so I was excited.
Go Dogs.
What a
That's
guy.
good
I mean,
stuff.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
You almost didn't want to cut away from that video
Right.
to show the picture of him when he actually won it, because he was so great at just kind of going through all those different emotions that he felt. And those are some of the things that you're just going to learn a little bit about these guys that you may not have known, or remember some things, or see some plays that you're like, man, I haven't seen that since it happened or in years. And also, you're going to see during the course of the game, as you're loading into each game, you're going to get some facts about maybe what they did that week of the season during their Heisman winning year, or some other fun facts about their Heisman winning seasons or their college careers, all those sort of things, because it's really kind of teaching you some of the history of these guys and what makes them so special. Because even guys that may not have gone on to such a great NFL career still had tremendous college careers, and still are some of these guys that are some of the greatest all time in college, even for the one season that they might be remembered for. And some of these guys put up numbers that are video game like numbers. You hear that kind of story. You hear people all the time, oh man, he puts up video game numbers, and does that even is it even possible to put up these video game numbers that everyone thinks anymore? You look at some of the numbers that guys like Andre Ware did, and it's amazing. And from the running side of that, Barry Sanders in one season. Oh, why did he only play one season? Well, Thurman Thomas was starting ahead of him.
Exactly.
Kind of hard to see the field then, but he comes in and just dominates in that one season. And so you've got those stats to try and match up to too, and I think we're going to go into that next of kind of what you're supposed to be doing is to try and match these guys and try and be as good as they were.
So another part to this, so you really want to break it down into 3 parts. It's a presentation part, it's a gameplay part, and it's also the progression part. So the one part we really wanted to nail was the actual attributes, the whole part of getting into the game itself. So as first you can see that these overall ratings of these guys are over 100. We had to do this. We had to make these guys match up to how good they are. That was really important to us. So we wanted to get Eddie's speed. We wanted to get Barry's juking ability. We want to get Herschel Walker running over people. You want to get Tim Brown's hands. We had to make sure that the gameplay matched up with the prowess of these guys. But not only that, we took this as an opportunity to tune the game as well. So, when you're Road to Glory, when you're playing last year's game, play calling was not good. So when we took it Heisman mode this year, we wanted to make sure that we got everything right. So the play calling this year has been totally revamped for the single player experience, to where if you're a quarterback, you're going to throw the ball. If you're running back, you're going to run the ball. And that's what these guys did. When they put up these numbers, it wasn't that they were getting 5 or 10 carries a game. They were getting lots of carries and lots of opportunities to show off. And that was extremely important to us to make sure that that was the way it should be. And also, another huge, huge feature for this mode is the ability to return kicks and punts. That for us, we've been wanting to do that for so long. And some of these guys, that was key to their seasons. Been Desmond Howard returning punts and kicks. That's huge.
Well, yeah, I mean, how can you have a mode about these guys where you don't have, like we're saying, Desmond being able to return that 95-yard punt against Ohio State, or Tim Brown with those 2 punt returns against Michigan State to really jumpstart his career, or Barry in his Heisman-winning season returned the opening kick of the season for a touchdown. So you had to have these moments in there where these guys are able to be the return greats that they were. I mean, you hear Tim Brown say it. He was a receiver, and that's what he was good at. But he won the award because of his ability on special teams and his ability to change the game that way. And so, that was just a no-brainer. You had to have that ability in there. Right. And so, kind of talking about the attributes of these guys a little bit too in their ratings. We really wanted to go in and show that the difference between these guys and make it feel like it's more than just a name on the back and a face. That Barry feels different than Herschel, then feels different than Eddie, then feels different than on the quarterback side, Doug feeling different than RG3, feeling different than Carson. It's all about the gameplay side of that and how these guys can be different from each other. And then, the play calling, too. And what's the point of having one of these horses if you're not letting them out of stable?
Right.
Even if you take Barry Sanders and put him on Oklahoma State now, you'd be a fool to not run with him and kind of change your offense so much to where you're featuring him in some way, shape, or form. And it could be through the pass or it could be through the run, but you are getting the ball in his hands. And so we wanted our play calling to, reflect that.
And some in the past, I think, in some of these types of game modes, guys don't necessarily feel like you don't feel dominant when you're playing with them. But in this, you do. And you wanted it to feel like these guys are the best, some of the best that have ever played the game of football, college football.
Exactly. You couldn't have said it better. Even if you look, if we can zoom in real quick on this play call right here, when I was taking screenshots for this, if 7 rushes for 197 yards, averaging 27 yards carry, and a 77-yard rush. And that's common. We've been putting up absolute outrageous numbers with these guys because that's exactly how it was for them in real life. We wanted to match the caliber and the athleticism of these guys, and it turned out pretty well.
Now that's the fun part of this mode is it's a single-player experience for you to really get a chance to go in and dominate as one of these all-time greats and have a feeling of power that you've never had in the game before.
Right.
And so that's kind of a really cool part for us to be able to see that come to life in the game.
Yep. All right, carrying on. And this is the great part. This is the cool part. This is the really video game part, and it's the whole challenge aspect of it. The Heisman Challenge really is about taking these guys and reliving their experiences and learning about them. But the fun part of it is trying to match their stats. When we were talking about how these guys used to put up video game numbers, they really did. And so we wanted to go the extra mile and make sure that you were reaching for these goals. So we put in player-specific goals for each player. We took their stats. Me and Ben sat down for days at a time doing all sorts of research and planning out all of these goals that we wanted to put in. So each guy has their own specific goals. Like as you can notice right here on Barry's, We'll zoom in a little quick. These are some of Barry's goals. You know, carry the ball for over 2,600 in a season, because those were Barry's stats. Rush for over 39 touchdowns. I mean, these are outrageous numbers.
And this doesn't even factor in bowl game back then. You know,
Yeah,
the NCAA didn't track those, so we didn't count those into this as well. So yeah, you know, if you were to factor in that bowl game against Wyoming that he had at his junior year, excuse me, I mean, his numbers would be untouchable. You know, Monty Ball came very close this year for touchdowns, but that's because the 5 that Barry got in that bowl game didn't count. But you know, you've got different things for each of these guys that are unique to them and what made their Heisman season so great. And you've got a guy like Marcus Allen, who Marcus loves himself some Marcus, and if you watch his videos, they're some of my favorites to watch because
I love Marcus. I really
he
do.
really has that confidence of how great that he was. And you know, I think it'd be hard pressed for him today to still not think that he could go out there and rush for 2,000 yards, because he was the first guy to ever do it.
Yeah.
No one had rushed for 2,000 yards in a season before him. Or Doug Flutie, no one had thrown for 10,000 yards in a career. And so these guys have that kind of bravado about them that they just love to just kind of extol. And so we want to have those different things. I mean, the Doug example is a career example. These are all single-season examples in the game that you're trying to match.
Hey, try to get
one-season thing.
Trying to get 10,000 yards in the season.
You can
Try, why not?
But yeah, you know, get out there and run around with Doug and throw it around. And it's not just the one pass. Everyone remembers that one pass against Miami, which I was a big fan of, right? You know, it's always
I love
nice to
it.
see
I
that.
love it.
But you know, he had so much more in his season and his career. So it's kind of awesome to have a chance to really tell more of his story and show off more about his things and try and match more than just one pass to make his Heisman career.
And the great thing about these guys is that when they were putting in these stats, they were breaking records. They were breaking all sorts of records. So we wanted to really put that into the game as well. So we have a new feature of breaking certain goals and certain accomplishments. So while you have your 4 main Heisman goals, there are over 40 different goals for each player to go through and unlock. And these are NCAA records. These are school records, which are specific to each school. So if you're going to go to Baylor and break their records, you can also go to USC and attempt to break their records. All sorts of different records for each team that are specific to each team, specific to each position as well. So the wide receiver, the quarterback, and the running back will have all sorts of goals. And what these goals really are connected to are the leaderboards. So as soon as you start putting up these numbers, we've been having all sorts of fun in the office trying to see you can put up Barry's highest numbers. I think I have over 11,000 points right now with Barry, just because you can score touchdown for touchdown. I'm just awesome with Barry. But it's really fun to see how well.
Alex loves himself some Alex too.
No, I just like Barry.
Well, I love the fact
Barry.
that you're going to have a live gameplay demo here in a little bit with Barry, so now you've set
And now I
yourself
get
up
to embarrass myself as always, which I do on these shows, which is great. But it's just another example of trying to put a lot of challenge in there. And so that challenge aspect of it is a lot of fun. And we also have the gameplay feature that I've been waiting to talk about for a long time, which will help you out. And that gameplay feature is called reaction time. So reaction time is something that we've been working on a lot, and we've been having a lot of fun in the office. And we're going to zoom in real quick, so Eric tells me over here.
We got some people on the boss button.
On the boss button over there,
yeah.
Mr. Boss.
From their computer.
So reaction time is something that when we were talking to all the Heisman guys, one thing came apparent to every single guy is that when they were playing in the heat of the moment, when everything was going really fast, their adrenaline was pumping, things tend to slow down a little bit more. And so in a nutshell, that is exactly what reaction time is. You press the left trigger, everything slows down. It's the Max Payne Matrix style slowing down, but it really exists in football. When you're on the field and the adrenaline's pumping through your system, everything becomes more apparent. So you start seeing the blocks. You start seeing the receivers cutting on the dime. If you're a receiver, the ball slows down and you can see the ball coming into you. So we thought this was an absolutely perfect example to put this into Heisman mode to start off, and you can use it in Road to Glory as well, and we'll talk about that later in our next webcast.
That's right.
Which is
June 11th.
June 11th.
There we go.
Nice plug. But it really, if you thought playing with these guys with bumped up attributes was a lot of fun, when you slow down time and you can slow down these cuts, it really takes it to another level. And with reaction time, we put in all new cameras for these. So whenever you hit the left trigger, it zooms in on the action. So for running backs, you get an awesome view so you can see all the cuts. For a quarterback, it zooms in, gives you a little bit of a fisheye so you can see everybody passing. For receivers, you actually get to see the ball come into you and the quarterback passing it. We went the extra mile to make sure that even the visuals were up to par. So when you're in reaction time, you get some saturation effects, you get some sound effects, drops, the crowd volume goes down. You just hear exactly what's going on in the field. So it really feels exactly like what these players were going through.
And from a realistic standpoint, you hear these players talking about as they got better or, as they progressed through their college career, the game slowed down from how it was in high school, where they were dominant. But then, get into college, competition's harder, and the game slows down. But just from a gameplay standpoint, it's really, really fun to use reaction time.
It is, and it's a lot of fun, and we had to draw the line at some point. We weren't going to allow everybody to use reaction time all the time, because that's just that gets old really quick. So the designer came out and all of us, and we basically put a limit on reaction time. So as you can see in the bottom the bottom of the screen, there is a meter for reaction time, and what this meter does, it basically prevents you from using reaction time too much. But the cool part about it is that you can gain reaction time back by doing good plays and great plays. Just like a coach trust system and the XP system, it's building off all the keys in the game. So when you score touchdowns, when you get first downs, it's building your reaction time back up. So it's kind of like a meta game within reaction time to make sure you're conserving it. But with Heisman mode, you'll have plenty enough, but you still have to keep your eye on it.
I think one of the most interesting things with this feature too was coming into our first community today. I think this was the single biggest question mark for us. How is the reaction of our hardcore guys we're bringing in? How are they going to react to something like this? That can be on first glance something that might be deemed as arcadey or gimmicky or something that's not true to hardcore. Even though you're using a real world adage of the game slowing down for you, it's not 100% true to life. And so that was kind of one of the things we were like, okay, what's the reaction going to be? And is everyone just going to really just hate it? Or hate it on first sight and never give it a chance, or what's it going to happen? And so we started letting them get into it and let them play a little bit. And I think at first you had some of the guys were just like, "Meh, it's not for me." And they started playing it, and they're just like, "Okay, I can see the appeal." Like they kind of like instantly they got it. And then we let them return some kicks and return some punts.
About 6 hours later,
it turned into its own game of how much fun it can be to return a kick using reaction time. And it's kind of one of those things where you're going to see it, and you're going to look at it, and you're like, okay, that's cool, and okay, maybe that might be something I want to try, but once you start playing, you're just like, wow, this really does change the game for me, and it is a lot of fun, and I don't care that, I'm super hardcore, super sim guy. This is a chance to have a good time and have fun and play with somebody who is better than anyone I've ever played with and have an ability I've never had before in the game. So, yeah, I'm excited to have people actually get their hands on it and play it.
Yeah, Farles and Gibbs, two of our community guys, were in here actually last week, and they might be the most hardcore of just gameplay guys. Tournament players and this kind of thing. And I went in here and talked to them, and they were playing Heisman Challenge, and they're like, this is just a blast. Like, they love reaction time.
Yeah.
So I think once people give it a shot, they're going to love it.
Yeah, we got live demo.
I think that's coming up here real soon, yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Can't wait to show it off, man.
Is this the end of the deck?
That's the end of the deck. If I hit one more button, we just go back to the beginning.
So fancy.
There we go.
All right, so when we come back, we are going to show actual gameplay, unfinished gameplay for Heisman Challenge mode, but it's pretty close, and
it's there.
It's pretty awesome. So we're going to show that off when we come back. All right, welcome back to the EA Sports NCAA Football 13 live broadcast. We are talking about Heisman Challenge mode. Alex, you've given us the deck, you've given us the presentation, and now we're actually going to jump into the game itself.
Yep.
First, let me promote a couple of things. E3, in case you've been living under a rock, is next week. And for all your E3 content, including NCAA, check out easports.com/E3. Ben, you have something to mention about that.
Well, yeah, and we can't mention what it is yet, but since it is E3, we will have something special for you that week as well.
So stay tuned, easports.com/E3. Also, our next show, which is probably going to include Alex again, is going to be on Road to Glory mode, and we're going to talk about that on June 11th. So stay tuned for the next live webcast, which is June 11th. Set your calendars and stuff like that. Also, new exclusive trailer for Heisman Challenge mode. We haven't shown it to anyone yet. We're going to show that after we show some gameplay. So stay tuned for all that. Alex, why don't we jump into the game?
Let's do this. Let's get right in. Are we in? Let's do this. All right. So as you can see, this is a brief little sneak peek on our main menu. Today we're going to go with Barry Sanders, 1988 Heisman Trophy winner. Let's see what this is all about.
There are some teams that I see that would be fun to play in. One team is Stanford. They run the football, and running the football is a priority. It's kind of a throwback to the way college football used to be played. So for me, I could definitely see myself playing in something like that. But at heart, I'm still just a high back, do a sweep or a counter or a slant,
Awesome video. So, Barry's the man. So here's Barry standing in our awesome Heisman Hall that has our individual Heisman players that are in our game. So this is the very first screen that you'll get to after watching that video of Barry talking about what it would be like to play currently. So you get to pick any team, as we were talking about before. So you get to see what Barry would be like on Penn State, Pittsburgh, you name it. So, but today we're going to go over all the way to our favorite team, the Stanford Cardinals.
And it's also real cool to mention, too, those portraits in the background there you see in this Heisman Hall, those are the actual portraits from the Heisman. We actually contacted and worked with them and got the ones that they hang in the Downtown Athletic Club at the location of the Heisman Trophy. So, it was kind of cool to see those. And we have RG3s up there, which was commissioned and created, kind of ahead of schedule just for us. We got an exclusive there to be able to have the first ever showing of the RG3 portrait for his Heisman win.
All right, let's hop in advance. So, the fun stuff.
So yeah, as we kind of load in here, you're gonna jump in and be able to see what it's like to be Barry Sanders and to utilize that reaction time, and you're gonna have a good deal of reaction. I mean, 15 seconds.
15 seconds to start off with.
So you can see what you can do in that time. No pressure.
No pressure at all, guys.
No pressure.
I love live demos so much.
You've been talking about how great you are at the game.
I'm good at reaction
You're
time.
Talking about all the yards and touchdowns you scored on the 5th floor, and so let's see.
Oh man.
So here we go, San Jose.
So as you can see here with every single Heisman guy, we have all sorts of random facts about their seasons. For every single game, for every single player, they talk about what game they were playing that next week, or some history behind their historic season. So if you play through Barry, you'll see some of his outrageously ridiculous stats.
I think that was one of the most fun parts for us in the creation of this mode, was to go through and study up on all these guys and kind of find out these stories of things that you may not have remembered or heard from their time, and also go through and dig through these highlights and these photos and kind of try to find the moments that really captured what they did, and really kind of get across what it was, to see Barry. You see those moves. You see that diving over the pile he did there in that video. And even get a shot there to see the current head coach at Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, was his quarterback while he was there.
Right.
You get a chance to kind of show him in there, too, to show that history of college football a little bit more. And so here we go. We're going to see Barry start running through. You're going to see him at coin toss. You're going to try and see him as much as possible throughout the course of the mode, because you want to show these guys off. And here it comes. It's time to...
We get a return right off the bat.
All right. You better return this kick.
This is where I get to embarrass myself. So as we go, step into reaction time.
Oh.
of course, the first one that was bad.
Barry was known for losing as many yards as he gained.
Exactly, the very first time. Okay, so we're going to hop in here with the run. So as you see on the left, we have the little hint to tell you exactly what reaction time is. So post-snap at any time, hit the left trigger, and you'll hop into reaction time. So as you can see, and here we go.
Oh.
You're just going to have to watch how good I am. Get off me, dog. All right, we'll do another play.
Okay.
So,
and so here, you kind of talk about the extra plays here.
Yeah, we have an extra plays. This is something we took from Coach Trust from Road to Glory from last year, that if you actually don't like this play, you can hit extra plays to pull up even more plays. So if you really want to run the ball every single time and you really don't care about your passing goals, shoot, just go run it. That's what Barry can do this play.
They try the right side.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, got stuffed. Got stuffed.
Juked a little early there, Hal.
So we want to get a chance to show off what the different positions are like.
Yeah.
So let's run one more play with Barry, and then we'll jump out and show
Totally.
a quarterback and also be able to show a receiver.
Exactly.
So this is your play to show me everything.
You got to give me one more. Give me one more running play, and then we'll switch. That's the rules. We'll go right after that. This is it.
This is it.
Don't make me do bets, because I do really
This is what we
bad
love
at
live
bets.
demos.
God.
Able to get through that first tackle.
Who's breaking tackles, though?
All right. So let's jump out of this.
Sure.
And we'll go in and show off a quarterback first.
Yeah.
Why not? See what that
Who we gonna pick?
difference is to show, what it is to be at quarterback under center or just in shotgun, using that reaction time to survey the field. It's a whole different experience.
Yeah, it really is. As soon as you start using reaction time, you'll be able to see blocks. You'll be able to see defenders coming at you. You'll be able to react more. Literally, you'll be able to react more to the play. So using it as a running back is great. But my personal favorite is using it as a quarterback because you can see the routes. So what quarterback should we use here?
Well, that's a good question. You've got a couple saves already, don't you?
Yes.
Let's jump into one you already have.
Sure.
Let's see who's available to us.
So we got Charlie
I see some
Ward
in
and
front,
Desmond. I think you want me to pick Charlie Ward.
Maybe the most decorated athlete
Here
in
we
the history
go.
of college football.
Here
when he
we
won the
go.
award in '93. Charlie Ward, yes, why
Here
not? From
we
Thomasville,
go.
Georgia. The finest. Well, the punter. His freshman season. Man, Charlie was the best.
Man.
So, here we go. Look at you, already here at the Florida game.
Yeah, and another part we were going to talk to mention briefly on the right side, as you can see, my goals are stacking up pretty well. I've already gotten 1,000 passing yards, 1,600 passing yards in the season. I'm working towards the goals. If I can keep on doing well in this fake playthrough that I did, I'll be able to win the coveted Heisman with Charlie. So let's hop in the game against Florida.
All right.
Those are some pretty good numbers you've already got stacked up, but
I'm trying.
I'm starting to question if you.
Of course.
So I guess now it's time to talk about, too, what do those goals mean to your chance to win the Heisman? Since that is the goal of the mode, right, is to be a Heisman winner and win the 2012 Heisman Trophy with these guys. So if you are able to complete all four of those goals, then you're guaranteed to win the Heisman. That's you've matched what they did when they really won it, so there you go. But we still do have our Heisman logic in place that if you don't get all those goals or you don't even get any of them, you can still win the Heisman. So you can still win it just like a normal player would. But those are for kind of get me to the front of the line. I'm the Heisman winner.
Exactly.
Right.
To make sure you win that award.
We took the old Heisman logic and tweaked it and improved it just for Heisman mode, which is pretty cool. So we're here in one of Ben's favorite places in the world.
It's the best place. Yes.
How often are you there during football season?
7 to 8 times during the season. I'll make my way 4 hours up the road.
All right, let's see what Charlie can do here.
Best offense right now in college football. The reason they
So there you go. You get a chance to see some things open up and you throw.
On the first play, you have to love live demos.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
If there was ever any question that we do this live, there we go.
That's it.
All right, now a chance to totally redeem yourself.
I'm no longer invited to these things. All right, let's fix this.
There we go. Slow it down. Take a look. You can scramble with him if you want to. Turn around, just throw it across the field. Why not?
I got it. I got the catch. We're good, guys.
Give the sticks to Ben. The coach is already calling for a handoff. He's done.
Here you go, Ben. Take it over.
It's all you, man.
Fine. This is guys. This is what I get for being the young one. All right, so I'm gonna audible it. It's my favorite play.
Steps up
There
in the
we go.
pocket. Good open field
Safety
tackle.
valve there.
Yep, exactly. So of course, let's do some extra plays. Oh, curl flats. That's gonna be
Here's
good.
your last one.
Here's my last attempt.
Maybe after this play, you can explain a little bit about the reaction time meter and how that builds up.
Sure. Yeah.
Why that's happening.
Yeah, not a
People are
problem.
wondering.
Let's see if I can do two things at once here. All right, so let's put reaction time on. We're gonna hit the X receiver. Actually, we're gonna hit.
Oh, you're
Nope,
gonna
nope,
get away
nope,
from
nope,
that?
nope. We've got away.
Come on, Charlie.
Oh! Why do I throw so many interceptions in our game?
And he's taken down around the 34.
You know, I brag for a reason, and I really probably shouldn't brag anymore, guys.
Man, let's just get you out of here.
Just get me out of here.
Make you a receiver.
We have an allegation via Twitter. This is from community guy
Oh,
JD
God.
Huskers. He says, I think Alex was purposely sabotaging Florida State.
I wouldn't
Ben,
put it past you.
there's something I need to tell you, Ben.
I would not put it past
I
you.
was going to put this Florida Gator hat on right under here,
Oh,
but
don't you
I'm
dare.
not going to do that. Sitting next to you, I'm not going to do that. That was a plan, but we're not going to do that.
All right, so last chance.
Last chance of redemption here.
Totally redeem yourself here. And
Where are we going? Wide receiver now?
we're gonna be a
Bring a wide
receiver.
receiver.
Okay.
Show that difference. We got Desmond Howard.
Why not?
Why not? This is,
Before I get fired, let's do this.
you know, Desmond against Notre Dame in '91. Phenomenal fourth down catch to win the game. You know, if he didn't have that punt return against Ohio State, this would be the moment that really kind of was his signature moment. Now he went ahead and struck the pose, and everyone remembers that, you know, for the history of of all time. But here it is. That's the catch right there.
Oh,
That
That's
fourth
such a
down.
great picture.
What an amazing grab, and what a fun play too. And if you watch him talking about that play, you can see the kind of excitement in his eyes as he's talking about it. But yeah, it's
Hey, at least I can't throw any interceptions.
no pressure whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
I mean,
Here
you've
we
already
go.
lowered the bar so much.
So much. Man.
Maybe we should have let Ben play with Florida State.
I wanted to see what he could do with such a great player.
Under the lights, the pressure.
This is
live,
why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
live web broadcast.
Okay.
Who's getting the ball here?
Oh,
Here we
gosh.
go.
Okay.
Kick return with Desmond.
Out of the field, and we're ready for the opening kickoff.
No pressure.
No pressure, none.
Howard from the 2.
Gotta
Oh, I
see
like it.
okay.
I like it.
Get to the outside.
Across the
What
30.
did he do there?
Oh,
Oh, what was that, guys? Am I actually doing half decent? What?
that wasn't
All
bad.
right. Wasn't
It
bad.
looks like you played this game. Congratulations.
Oh, man.
What are you looking for from their offense?
All right, so here you can check out some of the new cameras we added in, especially for reaction time.
The
So
fact that they're so confident going either way can make it difficult. for the
Change up your
defensive
route there a little
personnel
bit,
to
but that's
prepare.
all right.
Down.
yes, hey.
All right, before you button through the play, let's find out. Tell us a little bit about the reaction time meter.
Yeah, exactly. So on this play right here, when we go back to the play call, you'll see that my meter fills up and it'll say good play. So that's our way of giving back the feedback to the player. So we got, guys, stop crying. So as you see on the left, I had previous play. I used a lot of it, but because of it, I got more time back. And so you actually get a bonus, a guaranteed bonus every single play. But if you do well, you'll get even more of a bonus.
First
I do want to
down,
remind
10 yards
everyone,
to go.
just because I
Ball
have
on the
to,
50.
Yes.
that this is a work in progress. So just bear in mind that. when you're watching
So
the
let's see if I can.
Get a little comeback route here.
You get the chance to kind of freestyle a little bit on your
It's the cornerback.
on your routes.
So I'm going to call you out here. You were calling for the ball, and you were not open.
No, it was not.
Quarterback for the pick.
Realistic gameplay.
Passes that he wishes he could have picked. However, hey, a pick is a pick, and no one's
Waving your hand,
All right.
and he throws a pick.
Yes.
Already.
So every
Coach
single
wants
play,
to run.
if you've noticed, we've been able to do something where you have been in the action. So with our tune playing calling, with the extra plays, you'll be doing something every single play.
All right. Last 2 plays.
Last 2 plays.
We got to wrap it up.
Come on, let's get a touchdown here, Alex.
Make something exciting happen.
I think he's running it.
He could very well be running. He is. Scrambling QB.
Scrambling QB, scrambling.
All right, man, let's play playing wide receiver. You got to run some.
All right, a wide receiver's favorite play, the slant.
There you go.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
Not bad.
I'm done. I'm putting it down, Ben.
There we go.
Oh, look at that awesome wipe.
I think they did a great job up front here, allowing the quarterback
Desmond
time to look
making a play.
downfield and spot the
Turning
open
something
man.
into a big game. There you go. That's good.
Maybe
There
I'll
you have
last
it.
a couple more months
Very
here
cool.
before they fire me for live demos.
The Heisman Challenge and the end of Alex's gameplay live demo career.
Said by the man himself. Great.
Thanks, boss. All right, just to reset here, E3 content next week. As everyone knows, E3, Ben said we got something special to tell you next week. But for all that content, easports.com/E3. Our next show is June 11th. We're going to be talking about Road to Glory.
Yep.
And you already teased reaction time in Road
Just
to
a
Glory.
smidgen. Also,
a smidgen.
one more thing. If you win the Heisman with these players, which we'll talk more about in Road to Glory, you are able to unlock these players as playable characters in Road to Glory. So you get to see more of the mutton chops, which is my favorite thing in the world.
Started
cool.
out as a freshman
Started
and play
well.
all 4 years.
All 4 years. So, and also we have another trailer, right? With trailer
We
stuff?
do. We do. I'm going to wait on that. Also,
the gun.
yeah, just once again, June 11th, Road to Glory webcast. Also, if you haven't already done so, be sure to pre-order your game. It comes out July 10th. And we have this exclusive trailer for
Are you ready?
Heisman Challenge. I'm ready.
Let's do this.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
We played the game in class.
Dominant, potent, simply put, a man among boys.
Tough, smooth, and graceful. He ran the ball with purpose. Playmaker, a game changer. He was an underdog. He made people believe it.
All right, that is it. That is Heisman Challenge mode. Alex, Ben, thanks for joining us this week. Once again, July 10th is when the game comes out. June 11th is when we're talking about Road to Glory in our next live webcast. Until next time, I'm AJ. Later, guys.